You told the truth. I acted on it. That's teamwork. What happens now? Day smiled. Now we rebuild. Bet 6 months after the trial, Hyuntech Solutions looked completely different. The new headquarters on Nexus Station had twice the space but half the staff. 400 humans worked alongside 50 carefully chosen aliens, including 12 Leventi who held a new position, truth officers. Day stood in the main operations center, watching the displays. Cargo ships moved through 17 star systems now, not 6. The Meridian contract had expanded 3 times. Other colonies wanted Hyuntech managing their supplies because of what everyone now called the Day Standard. Fast decisions, complete transparency, and Leventi oversight. Vera entered the operations center, her silver skin glowing softly in the dim light. She wore the uniform of a chief ethics officer now, a position Day had created specifically for her. Morning audit is complete, she reported. Everyone checks clean. No guilt signatures, no deception markers. The new hires are fitting in well. Good. Day smiled. Any problems I should know about? One of the warehouse managers on Europa Station is anxious about something. Not guilty, just worried. Might be personal. I'm having coffee with her this afternoon to check. This was the new system. Leventi didn't just catch criminals. They caught problems before they became disasters. Anxiety about work could mean process issues. Fear could indicate safety concerns. The emotional landscape of a company told a story, and now Hyuntech listened to that story. Jin, the forensic accountant who had found the theft, now worked as Hyuntech's director of security. He appeared on a nearby screen. "Boss, you need to see this," Jin said. Asset recovery just located another 200 million in stolen credits. The Galactic Commerce Authority has frozen the accounts. We should get most of it back. How much total recovery so far? Day asked. 3.9 billion out of 4.7 stolen. Not bad indeed. The recovered money had funded the expansion, paid bonuses to employees who stayed, and established a foundation to help other businesses fight fraud. A message popped up on Day's communicator. It was from Hana, who now served as his chief operating officer. "Sir, we have another human company requesting our consulting services. They think they have an equity collective problem." That's the 15th this month. Day had expected this. Once the truth came out, dozens of human businesses discovered similar theft rings. The pattern was always the same. Alien employees who believed humans didn't deserve their success, banding together to steal what they thought should belong to legitimate galactic interests. Set up the meeting. Send a Leventi team to audit them. Already done. Oh, and the Galactic Business Association wants you to speak at their annual conference. Topic: fast decision-making in complex systems. Day laughed. 6 months ago, the galaxy thought he was crazy. Now they wanted him to teach seminars. That afternoon, Day had a visitor he didn't expect. Tixar, the Velthrian who had led the Equity Collective, was being held at a detention facility on Nexus Station awaiting trial. He had requested to speak with Day. Vera accompanied him to the prison. "Are you sure about this?" she asked. "No, but I'm curious." Tixar sat behind transparent aluminum, his insect features unreadable. The translator on his thorax clicked to life. "Thank you for coming," Tixar said. "Why did you want to see me?" Day asked. "To understand." "How did you know? One conversation with a stranger and you destroyed everything we built. 8 years of planning gone in one day." "You didn't build anything," Day said. "You stole." "We redistributed resources to their proper place." Tixar's mandibles clicked defensively. "Humans are newcomers. You don't understand galactic commerce. You make emotional decisions. You trust instinct over data. You're primitive. And yet we caught you." Tixar was silent for a moment. "Then how? Honestly, how did you know?" Day glanced at Vera, then back at Tixar. "I didn't know. I decided. That's what humans do. We take incomplete information, trust our instincts, and commit fully. You calculated everything perfectly. The fake vendors, the shell corporations, the timing. But you forgot to calculate for the human variable." "What variable?" "Humans trust emotions. Not instead of logic, but as a form of logic. Emotions are pattern recognition running faster than conscious thought. When Vera told me someone was stealing, my gut agreed. I felt it, so I acted." "That's insane," Tixar said. "You risked everything on a feeling." "Yes, and I was right. You built your entire conspiracy on the assumption that humans are too emotional, too naive, too trusting. You thought our emotions made us weak. You didn't understand that emotion is compressed logic. It's millions of years of evolution teaching us to make fast decisions with incomplete data. Vera spoke up. He trusted me because I'm Leventi and can't lie. He trusted himself because his instincts matched what I told him. Your calculation error wasn't in the theft, it was in underestimating human intuition. Tixar's compound eyes seemed to dim. The galaxy will change because of this. Humans will be seen differently now. Maybe, Day said. Or maybe the galaxy is just learning what humans have always known. Fast decisions aren't reckless if they're based on good pattern recognition. Emotion isn't opposed to logic, it's a different kind of logic. And trust isn't weakness, it's efficiency. You still destroyed careers. Innocent people lost jobs because of your decision. Yes, they did. I've apologized to every one of them. Many came back. Some didn't. I carry that weight. But I'd make the same choice again because waiting would have meant losing everything. The innocent people who were fired got severance and references. If I'd waited for perfect proof, my company would have collapsed and everyone would have lost their jobs with no severance at all. Tixar was quiet for a long time. Finally, I underestimated you. We all did. You underestimated humans. There's a difference. As Day and Vera left the prison, she asked, "Do you think he understands now?" Probably not. He spent his whole life believing that careful calculation is superior to instinct. Changing that belief would mean admitting his whole worldview is incomplete. Is it incomplete? Day thought about that. Everyone's worldview is incomplete. Felthrians are great at precise calculation. Korthi are wonderful at organization. Leventi are perfect truth-tellers. Humans are good at fast decisions and emotional trust. Every species has strengths. The mistake is thinking your strength is the only strength that matters. That evening, Dai hosted a dinner for his senior staff. Humans and aliens sat together, sharing food from different worlds. The Leventi truth officers mingled with the operations staff. Jin told stories about the investigation. Hana discussed expansion plans. Vera found Day on the balcony, looking out at Nexus Station's endless activity. "You're thinking about something," she said. "I'm thinking about how fast everything changed. 6 months ago, I was celebrating a contract. Now I'm running a different company, with different people, with different methods. The galaxy sees humans differently. They see me differently. Do you regret any of it?" Day shook his head. "No, I regret that people got hurt. I regret that trust was broken. But I don't regret acting. Waiting would have been worse. What would you tell other humans who face similar situations?" "I'd tell them what I learned. Trust your instincts. They're not magic, they're evolution. They're millions of years of pattern recognition compressed into a feeling. When something feels wrong, investigate. When the threat is immediate and proof is slow, act decisively. And when someone who can't lie tells you the truth, listen." A ship docked nearby, its lights flashing in the standard arrival pattern. Day watched it and thought about all the ships that had come before, all the decisions that had led to this moment. "You know what the galaxy is calling this now?" Vera said. "The Hyun principle." "What's that?" "Fast decisions with incomplete information, based on instinct and emotional intelligence, fully committed. They're teaching it in business schools. Some love it. Some hate it. But everyone's talking about it," Day laughed. "A principle. That sounds too formal. It's just being human." "Maybe that's the point. Maybe being human is enough." They stood in silence, watching the flow of commerce. Somewhere out there, another human entrepreneur was making a decision, trusting instinct, acting on incomplete data, committing fully. The galaxy was learning that humans were different, and different meant dangerous in a good way. Dangerous to corruption, to slow bureaucracy, to anyone who underestimated the power of human intuition. Inside, the party continued. Laughter echoed. Plans were made. The future was discussed. Hyuntech Solutions wasn't just rebuilt, it was better, stronger, more honest. And at its core was a simple idea. Trust matters, truth matters, and sometimes the fastest decision is the best decision. Day raised his glass to the stars. "To being human," he said. Vera clinked her glass against his. "To being human," she agreed. And somewhere in the galaxy, other humans echoed that toast, making their own fast decisions, trusting their own instincts, building their own empires. The age of human commerce had truly begun, not because humans were stronger or smarter, but because they were decisively, instinctively, completely human. The galaxy was learning. And the lesson was simple. Never underestimate a species that trusts its gut. The Galactic Commerce Authority headquarters was an enormous structure that orbited no world. It simply floated in neutral space belonging to everyone and no one. Day had been summoned to testify about the mass firing. The case had become famous across the galaxy. Human intuition versus alien law. The hearing room was massive, designed to accommodate representatives from hundreds of species. Day sat at a table with his lawyers. Across the aisle, lawyers representing the fired employees prepared their arguments. In the viewing galleries, reporters and observers from dozens of worlds watched intently. The three judges entered. One was Velthrian, one was Korthi, and one was from a species called the Mendari, known for their logical minds. They took their positions at the elevated bench. The Velthrian judge spoke first. This hearing will determine if Day Hyun's mass termination of non-human employees violated Galactic Commerce Authority regulations on discrimination. Mr. Day, you may present your defense. Day stood. He had prepared a speech with his lawyers, but looking at the judges, he decided to speak from his heart instead. I understand why I'm here, Day began. I fired 847 employees based on a warning from someone I'd just met. No investigation. No evidence. No due process. By galactic standards, that seems crazy. Maybe it was crazy, but it was also necessary. The Korthi judge interrupted. Necessity does not excuse discrimination. You could have investigated specific individuals. How long would that take? Day asked. Your legal processes typically require 6 to 18 months for fraud investigations. During that time, what would the thieves have done? Destroyed evidence? Moved stolen assets? Disappeared to protected worlds? I had a company to save and less than perfect information, so I made a choice. A choice that harmed innocent people, the Mendari judge said. Yes, it did, and I regret that. I've apologized to everyone who was innocent. Many have accepted offers to return. But let me ask you something. If you knew a ship had saboteurs on board and the ship was heading into danger, would you wait months to figure out which specific people were saboteurs? Or would you act to save the ship? The prosecuting lawyer, a tall Velthrian named Sherex, stood up. Mr. Day's comparison is flawed. A company is not a ship in immediate danger. He had time to investigate properly, did I? Day turned to face Sherex. The Equity Collective had been stealing for 6 years. They had access to all my systems. They knew investigation procedures. If I had started a standard investigation, they would have had months to cover their tracks. How many billions more would they have stolen during that time? Sherex's mandibles clicked in what might have been irritation. You're asking us to accept that human instinct is more reliable than proper investigation? No, Day said. I'm asking you to accept that in certain situations, fast action with incomplete information is better than slow action with perfect information. Humans evolved to make life or death decisions quickly. We hunted animals that could kill us. We survived by deciding in seconds, not months. That's in our biology. And we, Sherex gestured to himself, evolved to make careful, precise decisions. That's in our biology. Why should your way be acceptable? Because my company, my risk, my decision. Day's voice was firm. I wasn't asking the galactic government to fire these people. I wasn't asking other companies to follow my lead. I made a choice about my own business with my own resources. Isn't that the foundation of free commerce? The judges conferred quietly among themselves. Finally, the Velthrian judge spoke. Mr. Day, you claim you acted on information from a Leventi. Please explain why you trusted this information. Vera was called to testify. She walked to the witness stand nervously, her silver skin shifting through anxious colors. State your name and species, the Mendari judge said. My name is Vera. I'm Leventi. Is it true that Leventi cannot lie? Yes, it's a biological fact. Our neural structure makes deception impossible. And is it true you can sense emotions in other beings? Yes, not thoughts or specific information, just emotional states. Fear, joy, guilt, anger. I sense them the way you might smell food cooking. Sherex stood. Ms. Vera, you told Mr. Day that 5 members of his staff were guilty. The investigation found 45 guilty parties. Your information was incorrect by a factor of 9. Doesn't this prove your ability is unreliable? Vera shook her head. I told him 5 in his inner circle were guilty at that moment in the restaurant. I didn't scan his entire company. I sensed the emotions of the people present. Later, at the all-staff meeting, I sensed 17 showing signs of guilt. The investigation found 45 total because not everyone was at those two events. So you were wrong about the total number. I never gave a total number. I told him what I sensed when I sensed it. That's all any witness can do. The courthy judge leaned forward. Ms. Vera, why did you warn Mr. Day? What was your motivation? My family sent cargo through his company. It arrived damaged and incomplete. I came to investigate. When I saw him celebrating with his staff, I sensed the guilt radiating from some of them. I knew they were doing something wrong. I couldn't stay silent. You're aware that your people are known for being truth-tellers. Yes. Yet galactic courts don't accept emotional sensing as evidence. Why do you think that is? Vera paused, choosing her words carefully. Because most species don't trust what they can't measure. They want data, numbers, proof. But emotions are real. They're chemical reactions in the brain. I sense those reactions the way you might sense heat from a fire. Just because you don't have my ability doesn't make it less real. Sherax jumped in. But it's subjective. Two Leventi might interpret the same emotional signature differently. No, Vera said firmly. We might describe it differently, but we'd sense the same thing. Guilt has a specific emotional signature. It's as distinct as colors are distinct. You wouldn't confuse red with blue. I don't confuse guilt with fear. The judges conferred again. This time the discussion was longer. Finally, they called a recess. Day and Vera waited in a private room. His lawyers were nervous. This could go either way, one lawyer said. The precedent is significant. If they rule against you, it could affect all human businesses in the outer territories. And if they rule for me, Day asked, it changes everything. Leventi testimony becomes valuable. Fast decision-making becomes acceptable. The whole framework of galactic commerce shifts slightly toward human methods. 3 hours later, they reconvened. The chamber was packed. News drones hovered everywhere. The Velthrian judge spoke. This tribunal has reached a decision. The case presents two fundamental questions. First, was Mr. Day's mass termination legal? Second, should Leventi emotional testimony be admissible in commercial disputes? The room was silent. Regarding the first question, we rule that Mr. Day's actions were legal under the emergency preservation doctrine. When a business owner has reasonable belief that the company faces immediate existential threat, and when standard investigative procedures would be too slow to prevent catastrophic damage, emergency measures are permitted. Mr. Day's belief was reasonable given the Leventi testimony. His actions, while extreme, fall within legal boundaries. Day felt relief wash over him, but the judge wasn't finished. However, we mandate that Mr. Day implement species-blind hiring practices going forward. He cannot refuse to hire non-humans based solely on this incident. He must give equal consideration to all qualified applicants. I accept that condition, Day said. Regarding the second question, the Mendari judge took over. We rule that Leventi emotional testimony can be admitted as supporting evidence in commercial disputes. It cannot be the sole evidence, but it can corroborate other findings. This ruling acknowledges that different species have different abilities, and those abilities have value in determining truth. The courtroom erupted. Some cheered. Others protested. The judges banged their gavel equivalents until order was restored. This tribunal is adjourned, the Velthrian judge announced. Outside the hearing room, reporters swarmed D. Questions came from every direction. Do you feel vindicated? Will you rehire the innocent employees? What message does this send to other human businesses? Day raised his hand for quiet. The message is simple. Humans make decisions differently than other species. We trust instinct. We act on incomplete information. We commit fully to our choices. The galaxy can accept that or not, but we're not going to apologize for being human. A reporter from a human news network pushed forward. Some are calling you a hero to human businesses everywhere. Others say you got lucky. What do you say? Dee thought about that. I say I trusted someone who couldn't lie, listened to my instincts, and acted when action was needed. Whether that's heroic or lucky, I don't know, but it's human. And in this galaxy, being human is enough. That night, Day received a call from the Meridian Group. We watched the tribunal, the representative said. We want you to know that our contract stands. In fact, we're expanding it. Your decisive action is exactly the kind of leadership we want managing our supply chains. More calls came. Other human businesses asking for advice. Some alien companies asking if he'd consult on security. Even a few requests for Vera to conduct emotional audits. Vera found him on the observation deck watching ships dock and depart. "You won," she said. "We won," Day corrected. 3 days after the mass firing, Day's office looked like a war room. 6 human forensic accountants had arrived from Earth, Mars, and Europa. They worked around the clock, surrounded by holographic displays showing 8 years of financial data. The lead accountant was a man named Jin who specialized in multi-species fraud. He looked tired already. "This is complicated," Jin said, rubbing his eyes. "Every species uses different accounting frameworks. The Velthrians use base 8 mathematics. The Korthi calculate in what they call flow values that change based on time. The Quilax use perfect memory instead of written records. Reconciling all this is a nightmare." "That's the point," Day said. "They use complexity as camouflage." "Maybe. Or maybe there's nothing here and you just destroyed your company for no reason." Jin looked at him seriously. "I need you to understand something. If we find nothing, you're finished. The lawsuits alone will bankrupt you. The Galactic Commerce Authority is watching every move we make." "Then find something." Jin sighed and went back to work. Vera spent her days walking through the remaining human staff, sensing their emotions, making sure no one left behind was part of the conspiracy. At night, she and Day would sit in his office and talk about what the accountants had found. Usually it was nothing. "Maybe I was wrong," Vera said on the 5th day. She looked miserable. "Maybe what I sensed was something else. Maybe I destroyed your life for nothing." "You weren't wrong," Day said. He was certain of that, even if he could not explain why. "We just haven't found it yet." On the 8th day, Jin came to Day's office with a strange expression. "We found something odd," Jin said. "There are vendor accounts that don't quite make sense. Companies that supplied parts and services, but when we contact them, half don't exist. The other half have no record of working with you." Day leaned forward. "Fake vendors?" "Maybe, but here's what's strange. The payments are real. Credits went out. They went somewhere. We're trying to trace where. How much? So far, about 40 million credits over 3 years. Keep digging." 2 days later, Jin found more. Insurance claims for shipping delays that happened twice for the same cargo. Inventory discrepancies that balanced in reports but not in reality. Contracts that were modified after signing, with the modifications benefiting the contractors but supposedly approved by Huntech management. Someone had access to everything, Jin explained. High-level access. They could modify records, approve transactions, and hide the changes in the complexity of multi-species accounting. It's brilliant, actually. Evil, but brilliant. By day 15, the number had grown to 400 million credits. By day 20, it was 1 billion. The accountants worked faster, following the trails deeper. They found shell corporations, redirected shipments, phantom employees who collected salaries but never worked. On day 21, they found the communications. Jin called everyone into the conference room. He looked excited and angry at the same time. "We cracked their internal messaging system," Jin said. "They thought they deleted everything, but data doesn't disappear, it just hides. We recovered 4 years of messages between 45 employees. They called themselves the Equity Collective." He displayed messages on the screen. Day read them, his anger growing with each line. "Human companies should not be this successful. We're redistributing wealth to its rightful place. Day trusts us completely. He'll never suspect. 2 more years and we'll have enough to bankrupt him. Then we acquire the assets." Day's hands clenched into fists. "Who?" Tixar was the leader. Blovin managed the money. 43 others across 7 species helped. They've been doing this for 6 years. How much in total? Jin's expression was grim. 4.7 billion credits. Almost 10% of everything you've ever earned. The room was silent. 4.7 billion credits, almost half a decade of theft. They justified it. One of the accountants said, still reading the messages. They actually believed they were doing something good. "Listen to this. Humans are newcomers who don't understand galactic commerce. We're correcting an imbalance. Eventually they'll fail anyway. We're just speeding up the inevitable and making sure the resources go to proper hands." Vera, who had been standing quietly in the corner, spoke up. "They plan to destroy you. Take your company piece by piece until there was nothing left." Day stood up. "Get me legal. Get me the Galactic Commerce Authority. Get me every media outlet in the sector. We're going public with all of it. Are you sure? Jin asked. Once this goes public, there's no taking it back. Some of these people have powerful connections. This could get ugly. It's already ugly, Day said. Let's make it honest too. The press conference happened 2 days later. Day stood before representatives from 50 news organizations. Cameras from a dozen species recorded every word. The Galactic Commerce Authority investigators sat in the front row. Day presented everything. The fake vendors, the insurance fraud, the redirected shipments, the internal messages, 4.7 billion credits stolen over 6 years, 45 employees involved. A conspiracy they called the Equity Collective. They believed humans didn't deserve success, Day said. They thought we were too new, too naive, too emotional. They used our trust against us. They used the complexity of galactic commerce to hide their theft. And they almost got away with it. He paused, looking directly at the cameras. 3 weeks ago, I fired all my non-human staff. The galaxy called me crazy. They called me a xenophobe. They said I was destroying human-alien relations. But I had a good reason. A Leventi woman named Vera came to me and told me the truth. Her people cannot lie. They can sense deception. She warned me that people close to me were stealing. He gestured to Vera, who stood nervously at the side of the stage. I had 2 choices. I could spend months investigating, gathering evidence while the thieves covered their tracks. Or I could act immediately and completely. I chose action. I fired everyone because I couldn't determine fast enough who specifically was guilty. Was it extreme? Yes. Was it necessary? Absolutely. A reporter from the Velthrian News Network stood up. Are you saying you made this decision based on the word of one stranger? Yes, Day said simply. Because that stranger was Leventi, which means she couldn't lie. And because my gut told me she was right. Humans trust instinct. We trust pattern recognition. We act on incomplete information. The galaxy finds this primitive, but in a complex system where perfect proof takes months or years, the ability to decide quickly and commit fully isn't primitive. It's survival, another reporter called out. What about the innocent employees you fired? Don't they deserve justice? They do. And they're getting it. I've already reached out to the innocent ones with job offers and apologies. But understand something. When someone tells you the ship is sinking, you don't stop to count life preservers. You act. That's what humans do. The Galactic Commerce Authority spokesperson stood. Mr. Day, this evidence will lead to immediate arrests. However, you must understand that your methods of determining guilt, using Leventi emotional sensing, is not admissible in most galactic courts. Day smiled. Then maybe it should be. Leventi can't lie. They sense emotional truth. In a galaxy where deception has become an art form, maybe we need beings who can cut through the lies. I'm formally requesting that the authority recognize Leventi testimony as valid evidence in commercial disputes. The room exploded with questions and arguments. Some reporters were supportive. Others were outraged. The galaxy was divided. But that night, as Day watched the news coverage spread across dozens of worlds, he knew something had changed. The Galactic Commerce Authority had arrested all 45 conspirators. Asset recovery teams were tracking the stolen credits, and human businesses across the outer territories were calling him, asking questions, sharing their own suspicions of theft. Vera found him in his office late that night. 3 other human companies just reported similar problems, she said. They're saying they found equity collectives in their organizations too. This wasn't just about you. It was systematic. Day nodded slowly. They targeted humans specifically. Thought we were easy marks. Were they wrong? Yes, Day said. Because they forgot something important about humans. We're not the smartest or the strongest. But when we trust someone, we trust completely. And when that trust is broken, we respond with everything we have. They thought our emotions made us weak. They didn't understand that emotion is compressed logic, running on instinct instead of conscious thought. Vera sat down across from him. You gambled everything on my word. One conversation with a stranger? What if I had been wrong? But you weren't. What if I had been? Day met her eyes. Then I would have been wrong too. And I could live with that. What I couldn't live with was doing nothing. Humans don't wait for perfect proof. We decide and commit. That's our strength. That's what makes us different. Outside, Nexus Station continued its endless rotation. Ships came and went. The galaxy turned. And somewhere, in corporate offices across a dozen worlds, other humans were making decisions based on instinct, trusting their gut, acting on incomplete information. The galaxy thought humans were reckless, but Day knew better. Humans weren't reckless. They were decisive. And in a complex universe where waiting for certainty could cost everything, decisiveness was its own kind of wisdom. Day sat in his office as the station's artificial night cycle dimmed the corridors outside. His desk was covered with data pads and screens showing employee files. 847 names. 847 lives that depended on his company. He had not slept. Coffee cups littered his desk. His personal AI assistant, a simple program named Atlas, had been pulling files all night at his command. "Show me the organizational chart," Day said. A holographic display appeared above his desk. Lines connected names showing the company hierarchy. Tixar at the top of operations. Bloven heading finance. Department heads spreading out below them like tree branches. Day stared at Tixar's name. They had celebrated his promotion 3 years ago. Day had given him a bonus big enough to buy a ship. Had it all been a lie? His door chimed. It was 600 hours. Most staff would not arrive for another 3 hours. "Enter," Day said. Vera stepped in, looking uncertain. "I couldn't sleep. I kept thinking about what I told you. Maybe I shouldn't have said anything, maybe." "Sit down," Day interrupted. He gestured to a chair. "I need to ask you something. How sure are you? Not guessing? Not probably? How sure?" Vera sat slowly. "Completely sure. Emotions don't lie. I felt guilt, greed, and fear. That combination only exists in people who are doing something wrong and know it. Could it be something else? Personal problems? Guilt about something small? No. The intensity was too strong. And it was connected to you, to your company. Whenever someone mentioned Hyuntech or the Meridian contract, their emotional signature spiked. They're scared of something related to your business." Day nodded. He had made his decision hours ago, but he needed to hear it again. Needed to be sure he was not crazy. "I'm going to fire everyone," he said quietly. Vera stared. "What?" "Everyone who isn't human. All 847 non-human employees. Today. But you can't do that. Most of them are innocent. You'll destroy your company, the legal problems alone. Let me explain something about humans," Day said, standing. He walked to the window overlooking the docking bays. "We're not the smartest species. We're not the strongest. We're not even the most emotional. But we have one trait that makes us different. We decide fast and commit completely." He turned back to her. "You told me 5 people in my inner circle are guilty. I have 20 people in my inner circle. That's 1 in 4. I don't have time to investigate 20 people while they cover their tracks. I don't have time to build legal cases that take months or years. And if 5 senior people are corrupt, how many junior people are helping them? How deep does this go? So you'll punish everyone? No. I'll reset everything. I'll give generous severance. I'll write good references. But I can't afford to spend months figuring out who's guilty when my company is bleeding credits. Better to lose everyone and rebuild with people I can trust." Vera shook her head. "This is insane. The galaxy will call you a xenophobe. They'll say you hate aliens. Let them. I'll know the truth. And eventually, so will everyone else." Day sat back down. "I'm hiring you, by the way, as a consultant. I need someone who can tell me the truth. You don't have to decide now. Think about it. But first, I need you to do something for me." "What?" "Come to the all-staff meeting at 1,000 hours. I want you to feel the room when I make the announcement. Tell me who panics. Tell me who's relieved. Tell me who's guilty." Vera looked uncomfortable. "Using my abilities like that, it feels wrong. More wrong than letting thieves steal from a company and from people like your family." Day's voice was gentle but firm. "You came here seeking justice. I'm offering you a chance to find it." After a long moment, Vera nodded. The morning passed in a blur. Day sent out the meeting notice at 700 hours. Mandatory attendance for all staff via holographic conference. Department heads started messaging him immediately, asking what was happening. He ignored them all. At 0930, his communication system lit up. It was Tixar. Day, what's this meeting about? People are worried. You'll find out at 1000, Day replied. Is this about the Meridian contract? Did something go wrong? Just be there, Tixar. Silence on the line, then, all right, I'll be there. The call ended. Day wondered if he heard guilt in that silence or if he was imagining it. At 0955, Day walked to the conference room. Vera followed quietly. Inside, holographic representatives of 847 employees filled virtual seats. The technology made it look like a massive auditorium. Faces from different species, different star systems, all waiting. Day stepped up to the podium. Vera stood in the back, her eyes closed, sensing. Thank you all for coming, Day began. His voice was steady. I'll be brief. Effective immediately, I am terminating the employment of all non-human staff. The room exploded. Voices shouted over each other. The holographic system struggled to process the chaos. This is discrimination, someone yelled. You can't do this, another voice called. Tixar's image stood. Day, what are you talking about? Have you lost your mind? Day raised his hand. The noise dimmed slightly. Severance packages will be generous. 2 years' salary, full benefits continuation, and positive references for anyone who wants them. HR will contact each of you individually with details. This decision is final and effective immediately. Access to company systems will be revoked within the hour. Why? Bluvin demanded. His forearms were shaking with anger. We built this company with you. We deserve an explanation. No, Day said quietly. You don't. This is my company. These are my decisions. I wish you all well in your future endeavors. He ended the conference. The holograms vanished, leaving him in a silent room with only Vera. Well? He asked. Vera opened her eyes. She looked shaken. 3 people felt pure relief. Like a weight had been lifted. 17 felt intense panic and fear, not normal job loss fear, but terror, like they're afraid of being caught. The rest felt shock, anger, confusion, normal reactions to sudden unemployment. 17, Day repeated. Not 5. The number was higher than I sensed yesterday. Either more are involved, or some innocent people are connected to guilty ones and afraid by association. Day's communicator exploded with messages. His human staff were confused and angry. His alien staff were threatening lawsuits. News services were requesting interviews. The Galactic Commerce Authority had already opened an investigation. Hana burst into the room. Sir, what did you just do? The entire station is talking about it. They're calling you crazy. They're saying you're a xenophobe. The Meridian Group is demanding a meeting. Cancel all my appointments, Day said calmly. And get me a team of human forensic accountants, the best ones. Tell them I'm paying double their usual rate and they need to start today. Accountants? Sir, we need crisis management, lawyers, PR specialists. No. We need to find out what was stolen and who stole it. Everything else is noise. Hana stared at him. Then she nodded slowly. You actually think someone was stealing from us? I know someone was. How? Day glanced at Vera. Because someone who can't lie told me so, and I trust my gut. By afternoon, the damage reports were coming in. Stock value had dropped 58%. 3 major clients had suspended contracts pending investigation. Alien rights groups were organizing protests. Human competitors were publicly condemning his actions, calling them a step backward for human-alien relations. Day's office was quiet except for the sound of Atlas compiling data. He had sent most of his remaining human staff home, telling them to wait for instructions. Only essential operations continued. Vera brought him coffee. The galaxy hates you right now. I know. Was it worth it? Day looked at her. Ask me that in a month. If I'm right, it was worth everything. If I'm wrong. He shrugged. Then I'll be a cautionary tale. The human who trusted a stranger and destroyed his own empire. I'm not a stranger anymore, Vera said. I'm your consultant, remember? For the first time that day, Day smiled. Welcome to Hyuntech Solutions, or what's left of it. Outside his window, cargo ships continued their eternal dance around Nexus Station. The galaxy kept moving. Business continued. And somewhere in 8 years of company records, the truth was waiting to be found. Day had fired everyone. Now came the hard part, proving he was right. The lights of Nexus Station sparkled like diamonds scattered across black velvet. Dae-hyun stood at the restaurant window, watching cargo ships drift past the massive space station. His reflection stared back at him, a tired man in an expensive suit who had just won the biggest deal of his life. Behind him, the celebration was in full swing. His senior staff filled the private dining room of the Celestial Pearl, one of the most expensive restaurants on the station. Champagne flowed freely. Laughter echoed off the crystal walls. Everyone was happy. Everyone should be happy. They had just signed the Meridian contract, 50 billion credits. That was the number. 50 billion credits to manage supply chains for 12 colony worlds. It was the largest contract ever given to a human-owned company in the Outer Territories. 8 years ago, Day had started Hyuntech Solutions with one cargo ship and a dream. Now he employed 847 beings from different species across 6 star systems. Tixar approached him, holding 2 glasses of something green and bubbling. The Velthrian's insect-like body moved with precise grace. His compound eyes reflected the restaurant lights in 1,000 tiny points. "You should be celebrating, not brooding," Tixar said. His voice came through a translator device attached to his thorax. "This is your moment." Day took the glass and smiled. "I am celebrating. Just taking it all in." Tixar had been with him since year 2. When other Velthrians refused to work for a human company, calling it beneath them, Tixar had taken a chance. He became Chief Operations Officer and helped build Hyuntech into what it was today. Day trusted him completely. "The Meridian Group almost went with Zyfex Corporation," Tixar continued. "But they chose us. They chose a human company. Do you understand how significant that is?" Day nodded. He understood. Humans were still newcomers in galactic commerce. Most alien corporations saw them as children playing at business. Every human success was watched, judged, and often resented. Across the room, Bluven was telling jokes to a group of junior managers. The Korthi's blue skin glistened with moisture from the humidity pods he wore. His forearms moved expressively as he spoke. Everyone laughed at his punchline. Bluven had been Hyuntech's financial director for 5 years. Numbers were his art form. He could spot a decimal point error across 3 star systems. "Sir, a moment?" A human woman approached. Her name was Hana, one of the few humans in senior management. She looked concerned. "What is it?" "The Quilax delegates are requesting a private meeting tomorrow." They seemed unhappy about something. Dave frowned. The Quilax managed his documentation systems. Their photographic memories made them perfect for record-keeping. "Did they say what about?" "No, sir. Just that it was urgent. Set it up for morning." Day dismissed the concern. Tomorrow was for problems. Tonight was for celebration. The evening went on. Food was served. Dishes from a dozen worlds, each course more exotic than the last. Day made a speech thanking everyone. He raised his glass to Tixar, to Bluven, to all the department heads who had worked so hard. They cheered. They clinked glasses. They took pictures to send back to their home worlds. But as the crowd began to thin, Day noticed something odd. There was a young woman sitting alone at the restaurant's main bar. She stood out because she was clearly not wealthy. Her clothes were worn and practical, traveler's gear, not fancy dining attire. Her skin had a silver sheen that shifted color slightly, catching the light. He had seen that before. She was Leventi. Leventi were rare in the Outer Territories. They were known for 2 things that made them both trusted and avoided. First, they could not lie. Something about their biology made deception impossible. Second, they could sense emotions in other beings, not read minds, but feel the emotional states of those around them. The woman kept glancing at his table, not with the curiosity of a fan or the envy of someone poor watching the rich. Her expression was different. It was concern, maybe even fear. As his staff began to leave in small groups, heading back to their quarters or to other entertainment venues, Day found himself walking toward the bar. He did not know why. Curiosity, perhaps, or maybe something else. "Excuse me," he said. "You've been watching us all evening." The woman turned. Up close, her silver skin was even more striking. Her eyes were large and dark like pools of ink. She looked young, maybe mid-20s by human standards, though alien ages were hard to judge. "I'm sorry," she said. Her voice was soft, musical. "I didn't mean to stare. I recognize you. You're Dae Hyun, right? Owner of Hyun Tech Solutions?" "That's me." He sat on the stool next to her, waving away his security guard who had started to approach.
"And you are?"
"My name is Vera. I'm nobody important. Just a traveler. You're Leventi." It was not a question. "Yes. Long way from home. Leventi don't usually come to places like Nexus Station." She smiled sadly. "No, we don't. We prefer quieter places, less emotional noise." She gestured at the crowded restaurant. "This place is overwhelming to me. So many feelings." "Then why are you here?" Vera hesitated. She looked down at her drink, something clear that she had barely touched. When she looked back up, her expression was serious. "My family sent cargo through your company 3 months ago, medical supplies for a colony world. It arrived late, damaged, and half of it was missing. We filed a complaint. It disappeared into your system. No response, no refund, nothing." Dae felt his stomach tighten. "I'm sorry to hear that. If you give me the details, I'll personally—" "That's not why I'm telling you this." Vera leaned closer, her voice dropping to almost a whisper. "I came to Nexus Station to investigate. I've been here 2 weeks, watching, listening, feeling, and what I feel—" She paused. "Someone's stealing from you. Multiple someones. I can feel it. The guilt, the greed, the fear of being caught. It's radiating from your inner circle." Dae stared at her. "What? I know how this sounds. You don't know me, but I'm Leventi. We cannot lie. And I sense emotions the way you see colors. Right now, in this restaurant, I can feel it from at least 5 members of your senior staff. They're terrified and excited at the same time. The emotional combination of people doing something wrong and getting away with it. The restaurant suddenly felt colder." Dae's mind raced. "Who? Which ones?" "The insect one. The blue one with 4 arms. 3 others who left already. I don't know their names. Tixar. Bloven. His most trusted people." "Why are you telling me this?" Dae asked. Vera met his eyes. "Because you're human. Because maybe you'll actually do something about it. Most species would spend months investigating, gathering evidence, consulting lawyers. By then, whatever they're doing will be hidden even deeper. But humans are different. Everyone says so. You act on instinct. You trust your gut." She stood up. "I've told you what I sense. What you do with that information is up to you." She started to walk away. "Wait," Dae called. "Can you—" "Are they still here? The guilty ones?" Vera stopped. She closed her eyes for a moment, concentrating. Then she pointed. 3 still in the building. The insect one, the blue one, and one of the bird creatures." Dae stood. His celebration was over. His mind was already moving, calculating, deciding. "I have one question for you. In your entire life, have you ever been wrong about someone's guilt?" Vera looked at him with those dark eyes. "Never. It's not intuition. It's biology. I sense the emotional cocktail that guilt and deception produce. It's as real to me as music is to you." Dae nodded slowly. He believed her. He did not know why, but he did. Maybe it was instinct. Maybe it was desperation. Maybe it was the way her words matched a feeling he had been ignoring for months, that something was not quite right. "Thank you," he said. That night, Dae did not go home. He went to his office and started working.